4 islands. On Richey's side, looks like he has a card or 2 in hand. Ultimate Price has just been cast. Storm Breath Dragon, Pulachronos, and Elvish Mystic. Scavenging Ooze with 2 counters on it. And his mana looks to be good to go. Mutavault is the land played here by Wilson. That's 4 mana. That is a Jace the Living Guild pack.
Oh,
I believe its first appearance on camera.
this seems like probably a solid matchup for it.
Not bad.
4 mana, bounce something is pretty good here.
And that's what it's going to do.
Boom shakalaka.
Pick that up. Will we have attacks is the question.
And this is why I believe this card will have some serious roles post-rotation. I don't think it's as good as Architect of Thought, but -3 bounce a non-land is one of the most board-impacting Planeswalker minuses for 4 mana they've ever printed.
That plays good.
The immediacy of that effect is so good.
Oh, everybody in the club. Interesting. Kind of like this. I'm a little dubious of the tapping.
Yeah,
So you can't pump a Frostburn weird now.
Yeah, it feels like it'd be nice to have a blue mana left over here.
Stormbright Dragon gets to eat something. And then Elvish Mystic can't trade anything profitably.
Jace the Living Guild pack. 1 copy in the main deck, 1 copy in the sideboard.
I
here.
like it. I do.
Dude, you got to kick the tires on the new cards. There's only one way to find out.
That's why, I mean, Eric Smith, when we were in Baltimore, had a Soul Chandelier in his Jund Monsters deck. I asked him, and he's just like, hey, I want to see if it's good. It's only one way to find out, playing a 10-round tournament.
Can't find out by not casting it.
Yeah.
Got to cast it.
So now it's time for Richey to block. Let's figure out the best ways to block. This will certainly take a moment. Looks like he's going to block the Tidebinder Mage to unlock his Scavenging Ooze. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points of damage come across. Top card's a Temple of Abandon from the Nightfell Spectre. I'm just going to kick it back. So the Ooze is alive. It's awake. And there is fuel in the graveyard. Now, of course, if a card like Messiah Mortars does show up to the party, that is bad news for Gabriel Wilson.
Yeah, Mortars is the card I think that's most frequently, you know, in this matchup, the mono blue Devotion player is crossing their fingers hoping it's not there.
Yeah.
We'll see if Richard has the time to take care of this Jace also. He doesn't really have to kill it this turn necessarily, because he doesn't care that much if Gabriel uses a Jace plus next turn. But the following turn, you don't want Jace to be at 3 loyalty.
Sure.
Because another disperse is going to be hard to beat.
So again, we know there's a Pulachronos over there. It looks like there might be a Mistcutter Hydra in hand as well. Wilson's at a pretty high 16. Now, Jund Monsters does close pretty quickly. But you want to make sure you don't die to anything here.
Yeah, you can pick up 1 life because there's 1 creature in the graveyard now with Scavenging Ooze, but it's a dangerous spot to be in. I mean, Richard has so much power in play, obviously more raw power, but you can easily imagine this game kind of getting squeezed out from him.
He is in the proverbial tank right now. Trying to figure out what the best line of play is in this sticky situation. It looks like we're going to go right back with the World Eater.
And he may need to play maximum defense in this spot.
Yeah, no attacking at all. He's so low. Mystic, yeah. And that's max D. See what he finds. Jace is going to take up. Take a look at a couple cards here. Let's take a look at the top 2. Put one of them in your graveyard. Get to keep 1 on top for next turn.
Jace just doing his thing.
Yeah, it's a weird plus there. Like, just the ability. Not actually using it, just kind of the weird. It's a weird ability. It's like manipulate your draw, but you don't get to draw the card.
The mechanics of it.
Yeah.
Because every other Jace is draw a card and do something else completely busted.
Yeah.
And this one is just scry with extra value, which is still pretty awesome. But I think it's a card people are sleeping on right now.
Just gotta find the home.
Well, I think it's a post-rotation issue.
Yeah.
It occupies the same drop as Architect, and Architect is incredibly powerful. I don't think this Jace is quite as good.
We can't forget too that Architect I thought was bad at the beginning.
Yeah,
Once rotation happened, it was the mainstay in the Esper and blue-white control decks.
It went from bad to best card in the Block Constructor Pro Tour to dominant feature of Standard.
Gonna play the Temple, put the top card to the bottom. See what this play is gonna be for. That's pretty good. Not great, because there is Pulachronos in play, but good. It's gonna evolve Raptor.
Yeah, getting another point of power in the air is really nice here. Because this game is potentially shaping up into something where, Gabriel next turn, minus his Jays, makes Richard pick up the Storm Breath Dragon, attacks with the 2 flyers, and then Richard needs to put together 2 removal spells.
It's also, I think, really important for Richard to actually activate Pulachronos on his turn when Gabriel has no cards in his hand.
Yeah, the shields are down. You gotta do it while the shields are down. Mono Blue Devotion has a lot of tricks.
Yeah, you do not want anything bad to happen, because that Master of Waves, of course, will kill you by itself. That's what it does. Don't have a great look at Richie's hand, but I have a feeling you know what he's casting.
Uh-oh.
Your stuff is dead. All of it. He does get to keep Master of Waves. Let's not forget about that. It does have protection from red.
Yep.
That text is very relevant right now.
A tough turn for Wilson.
Would you say that's a tough turnaround there?
It's a tough turn.
As now he's going to be attacked by some gigantic creatures. Gonna go after Jace a little bit. Gonna leave Scavenging his back on defense. So there goes the Living Guild Pack. Not quite sure there's a great way to get back into this one now. Mystery card coming. I think we're headed to a third one in a minute, my friend.
I feel that way too.
Yeah.
This swung around. Again, Mizium Mortars, that's the card when the game gets kind of dragged out that Mono Blue is usually dreading, and Richard had it.
And that's the card that Jund Monsters always wants to draw.
Yeah.
I've clogged up the board.
I have a bunch of mana in play.
Yep.
I got this ooze. You got nothing in your graveyard.
Now I just need to find a way to clear the board. And that's the card that does it. It's not just on Richie to close things out here. He's got the dragon, has Pulachronos, wants to make sure he doesn't walk in anything, no traps or stuff like that.
I mean, is Gabriel empty-handed right now?
I believe he has 1 card in his hand.
Okay.
I believe he just drew and passed the turn. If he's empty-handed, it's very easy. And in this situation, you can put your opponent on a range of cards and find a way to finish him off.
Yeah, I guess the card of potential concern is Cyclonic Rift. Because as Wilson is at 7 mana. And he does have 2 copies of Cyclonic Rift in his list, so it's conceivable.
Gonna activate Mutavault here. He says, I'm going to activate Pulachronos. Your stuff's gonna die. Then you get to block, and that's gonna do it. So Richie's gonna win game number 2 here over Gabriel Wilson. And we are going to head to a third and a final one here between Jund Monsters and Mono Blue Devotion.
And that's the secret right there, is getting some removal, clogging up the board, into Mortars.
That's a trick. Can he do it again? That's the question. We'll find out. As we'll take a look at the sideboards here between these 2 players. Again, we've already looked at Richie's a little bit earlier because we saw him play against Mono Blue Devotion once already, but the Abrupt Decay, the Bow of Nylea, the Doomblade, the Golgari Charm, 3 Mistcutter Hydras, an Ilea's Disciple, 2 Putrefy, 2 Rakdos' Return, 2 Reclamation Sages, and a Vraska the Unseen. Actually, when we saw Richey actually draw a couple cards after that game when he finished, you saw Abrupt Decay. So we know that's in his deck, and there's a lot of targets there, of course. Doomblade kills Master of Waves, as does Golgari Charm. You've got 3 Mistcutter Hydras, good in this matchup for obvious reasons. 2 Putrefies, I believe, will be here as well, and you can make an argument for an Ilea's Disciple.
Yeah, I like all those cards. I think I like the Nylea's Disciple overall. I think it's probably worth bringing in. What I like about this setup with the Mistcutter Hydras is the ability to shift from defense to offense very quickly. Important to do against mono blue because you don't want to give them all the time in the world to reassemble and sort of nickel and dime you, set up a overloaded Cyclonic Rift. You want to end the game pretty quickly.
Yep.
On the other side, Gabriel Wilson, 2 copies of Rapid Hybridization, a Dispel, 2 Swan Song, 2 Gainsay, a Negate, 2 Polymorphous Suggest, a Domestication, 2 copies of Jace Memory Adept, a Jace Architect of Thought, and a Jace the Living Guild Pack. I like the 2 copies of Rapid Hybridization. I like the 2nd copy of Jace the Living Guild Pack. I do not think I like Polymorphous Suggest in this matchup because Richard is on so much removal, but it's possible his creatures are so good, and I don't know. Maybe he brings it in here, but I suspect it's overall not great in the matchup.
Yeah, I don't think it's great. I think it's okay. I don't think it's great.
I mean, we saw our last Mono Blue Devotion player bring it in against Jund Monsters, against Richard Richey, and they had it in Game 3 of the quarterfinal match. I was not impressed.
Nor was I.
Does not seem like a good card to bring in against someone who's sideboard playing against you is removal spells.
It's fine, but it's not.
It'll have its spots. It'll definitely have its spots.
Yeah.
But I think overall it's a low value proposition against Jund Monsters.
So Game 3, will we have a blue mirror again in the finals, or is Jund Monsters going to be the savior of this top 8? Richard Richey doing what he can with the mighty green creatures.
You still gotta like that this deck's on the radar, right?
Yeah, I like seeing different things.
No, Jund Monsters, it was your labor of love.
Yeah, well, you know, I stayed up late one night. I don't know if that's a labor of love.
It's not a labor of love.
It's a labor of something.
Yeah,
It's a labor of like.
sure.
Was in the mood to build a deck one night.
Here it is, Jund
Labor
Monsters.
of love is actually not Kiki Pod.
Yeah, but that, there's millions of people working on that deck. And in fact, you just got the list from Sean
Easy,
McCune, right?
Easy. Yeah, I did. That's actually directly what happened.
So that's sort of a different thing. I understand that you love the deck, but that's kind of different.
I'm a convert. I actually hated the deck last year because the mana was so bad. It's a keep. The Richey mulligans very quickly.
Looked like Gabriel Wilson's opening hand quite land heavy, though.
I saw at least 3.
Yeah. 30 plus a nick, those at minimum. So
I make fun of players. I don't make fun of them. It's I kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Make fun of seems strong. Players with white bordered lands.
poke fun at.
Yeah, poke fun. Not make fun, poke fun. It makes coverage easy. I know how many lands in their hand.
Yeah.
It's actually much appreciated. I can always find them.
It does help a lot.
Yeah.
I consider having, I brought this up with a player who spoke to me yesterday. I consider having nice basic lands. It's like having a nice suit. You buy one, it's like an investment. You get your one, and then you're good to go for a really long time. You always look good.
Yeah. I agree. I invested in basic lands. I have a lot of unhinged lands.
Yeah. I have the Arabian Mountains. I have the Sunflower Euro Plains, the Netherlands Plains.
Yep.
And then I have some Beta Swamps, and I never play with forests or islands, so that solves itself.
Or the Pro Tour top 8 with Kithkin. For whatever reason, I thought it was a good idea to buy unhinged planes. So I did. They were only $1 each, so that was pretty sweet.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. I don't know how much they're worth now. But I remember, that's when I was, super broke. But I'm just like, look, I'm going to play this deck. I'm going to do it in style.
You still got to look fresh.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's very
I don't
important.
care how broke you are.
I'm very OCD about, my cards all being the same.
Same.
And they have to be the newest edition of each card.
Yeah.
When I play with them.
I'm kind of the reverse, but that's fine.
So, Meddling Mage, I have to play with the newest one.
Sure.
Not like Chris. Love Chris. Got to play with the newest one. Cloud from Raptor to start things off. And my lands have to be beautiful. It's a Sylvan Caryatid. That's a third land. Thassaur Spectre. Spectre, evolve the Raptor in for 1.
Really important for Gabriel to have something that can attack this turn.
Yeah.
And now, especially with Richard having his Caryatid here.
See what Richard's got to do on the third turn. Don't forget, he did mulligan this game.
But he does have the most important card in the deck.
And being able to accelerate this early is key. There's a third land. Is it the World Eater already? Nope, 2 oozes. That's a big difference.
That is quite the difference.
Yeah.
The first Scavenging Ooze is not doing a lot here, and the second Scavenging Ooze rarely does anything,
Yeah.
period.
That's a world of difference there.
A World Eater of difference.
I hate you.
Get it?
No. No.
Because you see, never mind. You get it. I know you get
You're
it.
buying breakfast now. Making me endure this. Tidebinder Mage going to come down. Looks like I might have a follow-up now. Yep. Frostmourne evolve this too. Look at that.
Woohoo.
Raptor go.
Cooking with gas.
Attack for 5. Going to trigger the Spectre. Top card is Temple of Abandon. That one might not matter too much for Gabriel. Hard to say how much it matters for Richey as well, but that is one less red source from Mizzium Mortars, which is a card that can really get him back in the game.
That's important. Also, with Temple in play, suddenly a lot of the other cards that Night Veil Spectre finds become relevant.
The one of Nykthos doing a lot of work that turn.
Yeah.
And Richey just already under the gun. And to try to figure out how he can work his way out of this one if he even can.
Yeah, this is a tough start. No two ways about it. He's got a couple Grizzly Bears in play
Rawr.
and some mana. And he's facing down 5 points in the air already.
Yeah, Ooze is such an interesting card in this matchup. There are times where it can dominate a game. There are times when it can look completely average, like right now.
Well, you need to supplement it with removal.
Yeah.
You know, if there's an Abrupt Decay in the mix somewhere, now Scavenging Ooze is doing really good work, but as things currently stand, not doing a whole lot. Ugh. If the second Ooze is not good,
Yikes. Yikes. Third Ooze is even worse.
that's tough to see.
Yeah. Not the best draw from Richey this game.
Missed a land drop 2, and 2 red mana away from being able to overload mortars. So
Yeah.
he's going to need some serious help.
Everybody coming in. Gabriel Wilson feeling pretty confident about this attack. I would too. Especially if he has the Jest in his hand.
This wouldn't be a bad spot.
The Jest would be a disgusting blowout right now.
Yeah, especially if the Caryatid gets in on the action here.
Yeah. That card is going to provide some legendary blowouts.
Oh, yeah.
that we're going to hear about. That's, you know, I remember Sudden Spoiling when that was a card. That one provided some legendary stories. This one too. I was doing my thing, and then my opponent had this one of, and my God. There's an ultimate price. So there that goes. Yeah, it feels like a Jest. Yep. Turn that into a 1/1.
Still not bad for Richard.
Yeah. Make sure you trigger that Night Veil Spectre. I wouldn't want you to forget. You can also spin that weird a little bit if he wants.
Yeah. Got a lot of mana left over.
Yeah. And Domri. That's
Oh,
adorable.
could be casting that bad boy soon.
Yeah, Temple. You can actually cast it next turn.
Yeah.
That's pretty cute. Nykthos provides the red mana via Frostburn Weird, and then the green mana's from the temple. Top card goes to the bottom from the scry, pass the turn back.
But now Scavenging Ooze is a factor.
Oh, yeah.
2 creatures are in the graveyard.
Yep.
It's, you know, it's something.
You know, lock up those grounders. Make it so Nightfell Spectre is really the only one that can attack.
A lot of mana from Nykthos too, so all of Gabriel's power draws are on right now. Cyclonic Rift, easy to overload. Thassa can play, dump a bunch of mana into it.
Yep. Those are all available. And you can see Richey's in a world of trouble right now.
So also, this whole board, the way this game's shaping up, also a good spot for Jace the Living Guild pack.
Yeah, just bounce something.
Just bounce something, and now I got this thing in play, threatening to bounce again in 2 turns.
Yeah.
I think Richard has picked up Pelucranos this turn, and the question is, can he take a whole turn off? Or does he just need to use the ooze a little bit?
Well, there's a Domri. That's actually pretty good.
This is nice, too.
I'm going to remove one of your creatures, turn my ooze into a 3/3, gain a life. Probably just fight Nightfell Spectre. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good turn.
This is great. Yeah, now he's got a 3/3 on the ground against this board. Richard is clawing his way back in.
He's trying. I mean, he needs Gabriel to have little to nothing. But he is certainly trying. Let's see what Wilson can find. Doesn't look like anything great's going on over there. Wilson in at the healthy 20. Just trying to keep it going.
This stuff is slipping away just a bit right now. Still a lot of powerful top decks in Gabriel's deck, of course, but the mono blue devotion, I've got a bunch of anemic creatures trying to glue this whole thing together. Issue is starting to rear its ugly head a little bit.
All right, it's just a raptor. Wow, he's passing? Yikes. He did play a Mutavault as well, which is pretty good, but that's a rather unimpressive turn. And one thing you'll note here is he has not drawn 2 of his payoff cards. Thassa and Master, 2 best cards in the deck, hasn't drawn one yet.
And now Richard's picked up a Stormbreath Dragon, still missing double red, but he may finally be able to contest the air a little bit too.
I wonder if on that last turn, attacking with Frostburn Weird is appropriate.
It's possible that Gabriel is setting up Cyclonic Rift too. Keep that in mind.
That's
he does
true.
have enough mana for it.
That's true.
And that would be a huge blowout
Yep.
here.
Yeah, end of turn, Rift you. That's not it.
Ooh, I dodged it. Gabriel did keep a pretty land-heavy opening hand. Was going well for a little while here, but feels light on action now. Cyclonic Rift feels like the card.
Mage. Shut that down. Evolve there. I think you have to attack Domri.
Yeah, I do not think you can allow Richard to fight again. The question is, does he send in a bigger attack? I think that looks like what he might be contemplating right now.
I don't like throwing away the Tidebinder Mage.
Yep.
So I'd be okay with like sending in Weird. Because Ooze will likely block, you can trade there, and the other Ooze is locked down by Tidebinder Mage. And then sending a Raptor after the Domri to control it.
That seems fine. Attacking with the weird seems essentially free.
Just getting to trade it with the Ooze that's active, I think is pretty good. Now that Ooze is, of course, can become a 4/4 because Caryatid can tap for mana. But you can still trade with it in combat.
The bigger issue is Richard still keeps an ooze in all of this, and how much trading do you want to do right now
Yeah.
with a Scavenging Ooze in play?
That is, of course, the big question. I'm in favor of this attack.
That seems fine to me. This seems fine.
See what Richey wants to do.
A block here feels pretty free to me. And if I'm in Richard's spot right now, the thing I'm most concerned about is Cyclonic Rep. That feels like the card that can take this from you. The more that you trade, the more that you keep the board clean, the less Cyclonic Rep matters.
I'm perfectly fine with the trade here. You can even make an argument that you're not even supposed to, pump this ooze into a 4 toughness creature because you have the other ooze in play.
Yeah, you eventually unlock it.
Yeah.
Most likely, you're going to eventually
If things
unlock
go
it.
right, yeah.
You find a removal spell or another Domri or what have you.
Now, you can make the argument of you're supposed to make it a 4-power creature to force the weird to trade with it because the weird could just go, okay, I ran into you. I don't really care very much. That's it. So I can certainly see on this turn, you put the ooze in front of the weird. You maybe do make it a 4-power creature, or maybe you don't. Offer up the trade, and then you have the 3rd ooze to continuously gain life. You'll unlock it eventually, assuming you draw a removal spell, and you're probably not winning this game if you don't draw a removal spell.
Yeah.
So, and then you actually get to just, use that and ride that, plus Domri, plus Pulachronos. That's what you get to do. Of course, you can't stop the Raptor from attacking Domri, so that's going to go down to 1. And I think that attack is forced by Wilson. So you can see Richard, his play has been very deliberate.
Yeah.
Here's an activation, Nick, those for blue. Pump up the jam. He'll remove. Turn to a 4. They'll trade. And Dahmer's at 1. And that's it for Wilson.
And again, keep it clean. Keep the board clean. Do not allow Gabriel to have an advanced board in the event that he draws Cyclonic Rift.
Temple of Abandon is the top card, of course. That will influence how Domri works. Decisions on what to do. Tick up. You have to imagine. He's like, ooh, that's scary.
What could that be?
Yeah, that's really scary. Scry, keep it, take Domri up, don't draw it, go. That's scary.
I mean, he still doesn't have Mortar's Overload mana next turn.
We don't think. I mean, that could be the land for Mortar's Overload, man.
He's missed enough land drops. Oh, okay, he has Mortar's
he
in
could
hand.
have Mortar's in hand, yeah.
And again, if Wilson right now has no cards in hand, then I would activate this Pulachronos right now. There's nothing to be gained by waiting.
Kill Type Undermage.
Kill a Type Undermage that's locking up Pulachronos.
Do you want the one that locks up Pulachronos, or do you want the one that locks up Ooze?
Probably Pulachronos.
Just because bigger?
It's bigger.
Okay.
And it looks like Richard's going to have things to do with his mana. I mean, if he's keeping on top there, he's got some big play for next turn.
Oh, what's interesting here is that Domri's dead. Type Undermage can just finish it off. He's tapped out. It feels like Mortar's is coming next turn.
Yeah, I think losing the Domri is not that big of a deal. Because what happens if, Richard goes to attack and you go end of turn, Monstrous, and then there's a Cyclonic Rift involved. I'd rather just protect against that as much as possible.
There's a Frost one weird. That's going to evolve the Raptor. Don't forget to fire up that Mutavault. You got to get that damage in.
Wilson gets to do a fair bit of damage this turn.
2 to the Domri, take that off the table. You have to kill it. You can't ignore it.
Yeah.
Because then it's going to kill something.
Yeah, it's another removal spell, so.
There's 2 Mutavaults. Huh.
Yeah, he gets it. I mean, this is a big hit. He gets to deal this turn.
He has to put in a 4.
And he's just saying, okay, I thought he was just attacking him down to
Put
2
in a
there.
2? Yeah, that's a little risque.
Yeah.
Even for my taste.
I mean, I like to beat down.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Do not get me wrong.
The goal is to put him to 0.
Right.
So I understand.
The correct play is whatever at the end of the turn causes their life total to be the lowest, because the goal is to get them to 0.
Yeah. What's actually kind of interesting, though, is that if he does attack him, puts him down to 2, makes it so the card like Stomping Ground can't turn on Mortars.
Yep, you get some narrow edge.
Yeah, some narrow edge.
But I think he has to get rid of the Domber here, because it also the situation could just be, you know, untap, fight something, use a removal spell, start getting life with Scavenging Ooze, and then you're never catching back up.
Ooze puts a wrinkle in the whole thing. I want to know what that card is.
Yeah, what did he keep?
Again, last turn it was play Temple, leave my card on top, tick Domri up, not a creature, go.
And now he's just passing.
I don't know.
It could just be
Instant speed removal spell. Got it.
It could just be a random removal spell,
Yeah.
right? That's got to be it. It's a putrefy or something. I don't feel like Gabriel has much of an option other than to just animate things and go. Just attack with his stuff.
You think that's his turn?
Gabriel's?
Are you saying that's what he can do or should do?
Well, he's got 10 power in play against. I know. I guess he can't even attack because he's just on board, cannot handle Scavenging Ooze plus Mutavault blocking plus the other blockers.
Yeah. You know, the ability for Mutavault, Pulachronos, carry added to block, and Ooze to gain life.
Yeah.
It makes for a staring contest. I mean, his turn might just be attack with Raptor, pass. And didn't get a great look at what he drew. Oh, wow. I don't think this works great. Because this is obviously, if you're fighting Mutavaults, everyone's attacking.
Yeah.
And this assumes that your opponent just has actual nothing. I don't even think he actually needs to have something. I think what he has on the board keeps him alive.
Well, Wilson still has his draw step here. He's got a card in hand.
Yeah.
So that could be a factor here.
Can't be Polymorphs just. That costs 3. I think he would have played Rift. And then there's Rapid.
Did he possibly side his 1 negate?
Yeah, what is this?
This is a gutsy attack.
To say the least.
Thanks everyone for coming out. Thanks, Bruce.
'Cause the thing is that Richey isn't dead, you know?
Everybody's excited.
There are blocks to be had,
You should have a deck list in front of you. There's a few things I want you to do that.
and then there are Ooze activations to be had as well.
One is write your table number on top right.
I think you gotta block. I think you gotta eat Tidebinder Mage.
After you're done with that, I want you to make sure that what is written on the deck list is the deck
Mutavault looks like it wants to block as well.
and then it has at least 60 cards to make that. And no more than 15 inside.
I mean, as things stand right now, Gabriel is attacking for lethal. Richard, of course, still has the Scavenging Ooze in play that can be activated.
Yep.
So the ball's now going to be in Richard's court to do something. And Gabriel does have the weird in play, so it's not quite enough just to be pumping, because he can match pump for pump.
Yep. And for every pump the Weird has, that's a life gained by the Scavenging Ooze.
Correct.
And 2 mana. Yeah. You had to assume there's a removal spell. What is this? Oh, he's reaching. Rapid. See, this is the part of the equation I don't like. Is I don't think he planned out what he wanted to do with this rapid.
Well, I think he kind of needs, to some extent, he needs to do this. Like, he can't wrap it ahead of time because the 3/3 still blocks on the ground as effectively as the Pelucranos does.
Okay.
So he knows that Richard has something and kind of needs to see what the something is before he can act.
Okay.
It's awkward. It looks really awkward, and it is really awkward.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he has a more efficient way to use a rapid hybridization there.
Mutavaults are going to trade. Caryatid and Mutavault are going to look at each other. Tidebinder Mage doesn't die because Pelucranos never gets to deal damage, and Frost Burrito comes across for 2. So now Richie's going to gain life back with the Ooze.
And these graveyards are fairly stocked.
Yeah, this is where Ooze really starts to take over the game. He did draw 3, and it was really awkward in the opening stages of the game. Now Ooze is, of course, going to stay tapped because Tidebinder Mage is in play. But now Ooze actually gets to take over slowly but surely. And you can see Richie's hand. He has a Golgari Charm over there. I believe a Storm Breath Dragon as well. Now, he's not out of it yet, but he is slowly stabilizing.
Yeah. And as much as possible, I think Richard wants to, at least for the next turn or two, find ways to be productive without tapping out entirely because he wants the Scavenging Ooze as an insurance policy.
And he needs to hope during this entire exchange, and this is interesting, this feels like it might be a dragon, he needs to hope during all of this that Thassa never shows up.
Yeah. I mean, this dragon is pretty risky here.
I'd rather leave it mana for Ooze.
Yeah, I think so too. Because as the board currently stands, it's not like Gabriel can really attack.
Draw a card. Because, like, the situation now presents itself that he can just die to a Cyclonic Rift, where he wasn't dead to it before,
Yeah.
because he could gain a bunch of life.
Yeah, that's the risk of doing this line of play. Is once the Ooze's shields are down, you're liable for a number of draws to kill you.
Tidebinder Mage gets it done now, too.
Yep.
Tidebinder Mage, tap a guy, activate Mutavault, attack you. You open yourself up to losing to a decent amount of cards now on this turn.
Particularly because there was, there wasn't that much of a risk of you getting attacked as the board was constituted the turn previous.
Yeah, if you have Caryatid and the Frog Lizard up, there really aren't very good attacks for Gabriel Wilson.
He can basically lose a creature on board to deal 2 points of damage, which you can just clean up with the Scavenging Ooze.
Yeah.
Also, Richard has Golgari Charm in his hand, so depending on how Gabriel attacks and what he does inside of combat, -1/-1 can be really powerful there as well.
He made it through.
Yeah, the upshot of this is now he has a Stormbreath Dragon to play that can start attacking.
Yep.
And as you mentioned, there's so many bad draws for him on Gabriel's side that closing out the game as fast as possible is important.
Just pass the turn back. So now both players are kind of staring at each other. Again, is Thassa ever going to show up? That's the scariest draw. There's an island. If Thassa ever shows up, this game is wildly different. That's yes.
There it is.
It's online, too. And he can generate a bunch of mana with Nykthos. He can generate 5 -1 to activate Mutavault is 4. And then you just make the 2 creatures unblockable. So you're better off here, I believe. You activate Nykthos, you make a creature unblockable, and just attack this way and probably pump up the jam. Gotta be careful how much you pump because of G-Charm.
Yeah.
You attack here. And again, if you're Gabriel, you're not presenting lethal because Ooze is in play. I actually like attacking with Tidebinder Mage too, making that unblockable. It looks like G-Charm, yeah, it's going to kill that. I don't like the use of mana that turn.
Yeah, pumping that much when there's other things to be done there. Definitely a mistake. But the important thing now is Thassa's in play.
This forces Richey to speed up.
Yeah.
Right? Does he get to gain a bunch of life with the Ooze? Absolutely. But this forces him to pick up the pace. That Ooze is big.
Yeah, I mean, the grip, the grass that Richard has on this game is still super tenuous. I mean, there's a lot of draws Gabriel has access to that either put Richard in a ton of trouble or just kill him outright.
Decisions.
Again, as we mentioned before, a lot of play in this matchup.
Yeah, it is really, really back and forth. It took Thassa a long time to get here, but now that it's finally here, can Wilson turn it back on? Don't forget, he gets to scry, too.
And I think that Gabriel has finally weathered the storm of the Scavenging Ooze.
Yeah,
I think the graveyards are
gone.
finally empty.
Yep. There's Blood Crypt tapped. Notice did you see the way Richey grabbed that forest? It feels like to me that was, he probably has an Elvish Mystic in his hand. Like, that's a really subtle thing, but like he grabbed it like he wanted to cast a spell. He's like, I'm probably better off bluffing a removal spell. Let's see what this is.
I think Gabriel may have found a Tiebinder Mage. If that's the case, then Thas is on.
Yep.
Can make some things unblockable.
Provides 5 blue with, you see him organizing mana for Nykthos now.
Yeah, it's now removal spell or bust.
Gonna make some things unblockable. This is gonna be 5 blue for Nykthos. Make something unblockable, make something unblockable. Yep. Both in. Forest. There was one more down there. Yep, Pulachronos. Up to 8. You know what time it is?
It's Mortar's time.
It's Mortar's time. Yeah, that's the time it is. It's Mortar's time. Those are tapped. It's a one-time dealer sort of situation.
Well, even Mortar's is not enough because there's a Mutavault.
That's
So
true.
Mutavault can become
Made
animated and unblockable.
Yeah, Mortar, I mean, he does get to, yep, that's going to do it.
Yeah.
Gabriel Wilson's going to win this match over Richard Richey. A very entertaining third game. Mono Blue Devotion moves on to the finals where it will play against Mono Blue Devotion.
Very back and forth, but ultimately, Thassa got it done.
Yeah, as Thassa is known to do.